right, so good evening. Hi, everybody. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to define your ideal audience. A lot of people struggle with figuring it all out. And I just want to give you a little bit of ease, get you through there, get you through the process so that you don't really have to struggle. Skip some of that struggle bus stuff. That's the whole idea behind this, right? So I'm going to get right in. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get in. All right. So how to define your ideal audience. One of the things that a lot of people struggle with when they start their business is figuring out how to do that, right? So let's start with who I am. Hi, I'm Denise Fernandez. I'm a business strategist, coach, and a podcaster. But I help moms who are coaches, who are wellness practitioners, whether they deal in NLP, EFT, yoga, whatever it is they do, but they help others. But they're new to starting their business. They may be certified in those areas, but they're still learning and figuring out how to get started in the thing that they do in terms of helping other people with whatever skills and abilities they have, right? So when it comes to their messaging, when it comes to figuring out what is a marketing plan that will get me in front of my ideal audience, I need help with that, right? And I don't want to spend the next year trying to figure that out. I want to skip to the good part if I can, right? So this is what I do. I help them in that space. Messaging, getting clear about it, and also developing strategy and marketing plan to get in front of their ideal audience and engaging them so that they can actually get to the next level and get successful. That's the whole idea. As an entrepreneur, you want to see success, and it looks so different for everybody, but most importantly, we want everybody to get there. We want more of us to get there and to be setting up our own tables and getting to where we want to be. All right. So as I mentioned before, you can connect with me via Instagram if you haven't already. MOMpreneur Success Academy. You can also tap in to the Facebook page for MOMpreneur. It's actually Mom Success Academy when you look it up for the Facebook page. And you can also check us out on YouTube, MOMpreneur Success Podcast, or you can actually check out the podcast on any of your listening platforms. So definitely do that. So let's get in. All right. So who are your ideal audience members, right? How do you figure that out? How do you get to that place where you can move forward in your business and just know the answers to that question, right? Next thing, how do they recognize you as someone who can help them solve their problem? Like if they saw you, how do they know that you are that person to help them get to the next level, right? Next, does your message speak their language? When you speak to them, do they hear, oh man, that's it. That's exactly what I'm struggling with. Like where is the connection that your offer, your value, where do they connect with that? And how do they connect with that in the words that you use? So we're going to talk about that and get all the way into that tonight. So we'll be here for about 20, 25 or so minutes, but let's go ahead and get in, right? Why is that even important, right? At the end of the day, you want the people who need you and need the services or the products that you provide, you want to help them. At the end of the day, it's bigger than you. It's really about what skills, what abilities, what passion do you have for a particular thing that you can transfer and translate and help somebody else with. That's why 9 times out of 10, why people start a business. Very often. Yes, at the end of the day, especially mom entrepreneurs, right? Because it's not as if we don't have enough going on in our lives, right? Between being a mom, being a partner, a wife, or, being the auntie, being the daughter, being the everything, being the employee, et cetera, and so on and so forth. So 9 times out of 10, when it comes to a mompreneur getting into business, there's a passion behind that. There's something that they want to do to help others. We walk around here selfless all the time. So it really translates that very often that's the same thing that we're doing in that. But we also, for some of us, well, most of us, we also want to translate that into financial freedom and time freedom so that we can spend time with our family and we don't have to leverage hours at 9 to 5 in order to see that happen, but still be able to be successful and be happy in what we're doing, right? So that's really why this is all important. So when you are trying to figure out who your target audience is, some of the steps that we're going to talk about tonight are all about skipping or getting ahead and speeding through the time, how much time it's going to take you, how much effort it will take you, but also how much money you will have to invest, right? Because when you start investing into your business, you want a return on that investment. And you most often, because you're pulling it out of funds, out of personal funds, so many of us, we don't really get the investment from the grants and from those initially. We really just pull from whatever we have. And so very often we need to replace those funds and we need to get to a point of being profitable pretty quickly. So a lot of the things that we're about to dive into are things that will help you get through this phase faster. And so that's what we're going to get into. Let's go. So the reason why knowing who your target audience and ideal market is all about reaching success by planning and using strategies. When you have a strategy or a plan, or I think about that, fail to plan, then plan to fail, period. Like that is a real thing. When I see a lot of the millennials or a lot of the people who are taking over the market and becoming 6 and 7 and 8 figure people right now, like that wasn't just by chance. That wasn't just because they just had some whim of an idea and they were like, oh, let's run with it. It's going to be beautiful. No, there is a planning process that went into that, and there is strategy that went into that. And a big part of that was knowing who they serve, knowing how to tap into that market, how to reach them right where they are, period. And you really have to have that, and you really have to develop it. And it's a new muscle for a lot of us, especially in the beginning, but it's really not as difficult as you may think. Again, it's just like learning a new sport, thinking about when you first learned how to ride a bike. When you first got on that bike, you had no idea you were falling off that bike. But by the time you started practicing and figuring things out, you were riding that bike, and then it wasn't a big thing. Or I think about roller skating, right? Anything that you have to learn that's brand new, it's going to be a learning curve. But a lot of the strategies and the things that we're going to talk about tonight, this skips you ahead. You don't have to go through the struggle of, oh, well, where do I go find this? Well, how do I know this? Let's go ahead and dive in and get into it right now, because you don't even have to go that far. So the first thing that you want to think about is what skills, what talents, what passion do you have? Do you already have? What certifications? And again, a lot of people think, oh, I got to go back to school, or I've got to go back. Not at all. What do you know right now? I've talked about this before. One of my older sisters, she was a bomb at crocheting. And I recently saw a couple of weeks ago, there's this young boy who's like 9 or 10, who like, that's his gift. He crochets and like, he does amazing things. Or even a lot of the artists who are coming in on the scene. I love the art that I've recently been seeing where it's like 3D, because they're actually taking hair and braiding it and styling it in the midst of their artwork. So it's not just 2D where it's like flat on the page, on the canvas, but you can see the hair and the texture. Man, like, again, take what you have, because somebody out there needs what you bring to the table, period. You just need to figure out what that is, who they are, and how to get in front of them. So that's the first step. Then I want you to do some research. so you can figure out who those people are that need what you bring. I recently was talking to a client, and she was talking about how when she first started her business, she had all these grand ideas that she was going to do this and this and that. But then she found herself in a situation where she was invited to do and present to different groups of people, but they started gravitating towards her and asking her for this and asking her for help with this. And these were all things that she herself had experienced and overcome. And she realized, oh, I can actually help them with this. And oh, it's a lot of them who are coming to me and asking me about this. This feels right, you know? And she ended up transitioning and getting to pivoting basically to realizing that, oh my gosh, these are gifts and talents and skills that I already have. I'm going to use it to help them because they need and they want what I bring to the table. So that's something to always think about. And so when you think about researching, pull from if you have clients already, pull from the clients that you already have, or pull from people who you know who were in the space that need whatever it is you bring to the table, right? So then you want to figure out, like, how can I package my services or my products? And again, that's a part of research. Find out from those people, what do you need most? How can I help you best? Because they're going to tell you that straight up. They're going to tell you, well, I need this, and that. How can you help me with that? You know? And that's really it, period. You can get to it without all of the frustration, without all of the pain, because when you have that feedback, it's like, it's a no-brainer. You're not having to draw from something that's uncomfortable. It's something that's already natural. It's something that you already do or know how to do or have experience. And you are helping somebody you're like 2 steps ahead of them usually. So they don't know. If you think back to yourself 2 steps ago, like, what did you need the most? Because 9 times out of 10, speaking of that, as you think about who your ideal client is, I'm going to tell you, so often we are our ideal client, right? Not everybody's going to look exactly like us, but mostly whatever it is we've overcome, whatever it is we've gotten past and through, and now have the experience to help somebody else with, that's our client. They're going to look so much like us. So that's something to be considering and something to be thinking about. Like, what did you feel at the beginning of those early stages before you overcame or before you develop the skills that you have, right? So again, do you already have clients or customers? Ask them for feedback about their needs. Are there others that you already know who are in your niche market? And then who are who are your potential clients, and how else can you tap into them? And we're going to talk about how to find them. You're going to want to always focus on recognizing the difference between a target market versus a target audience, right? I use the example, some of you can't see right now, but I have a funnel. And at the top of the funnel, it says entrepreneur. Because I remember when I first started my business, I said, oh, I want to help entrepreneurs who are starting a business get to the next level. You know, I had gotten to a different place or a different level in my business, and I wanted to help people who look like me, who were starting, to figure out how could I get through this and not stay on the struggle bus too long. Because that's the thing, for a lot of people who start a business, they are overthinking, they are self-sabotaging, all kinds of things going, I promise. Not for everybody, but for some of us. Let's go there. And so there are things that there are things that we can do to help. And that's really where the core of what I do started. So one thing that I learned was, very quickly, when you serve everybody or when you market yourself to everybody, sometimes you end up marketing to none. because I say that because you are going to want to narrow, and find your niche market. When I first started and it was everybody, I found that, oh, I might have to tweak this because some of the things that I had the best strategies for, they may not really match this person over here or 20 people all at the same time. And you really want to be able to speak to one person. You really want to be able to speak to that one person so that when you are speaking to them, they absolutely, positively feel like you are talking to just them, not everybody that you are talking. They want to be able to hear. And when you speak that language, they are going to feel and just know, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to get those products that she's selling, or I'm supposed to work with her, right? And I say that because I started out as an entrepreneur, right? Just focusing on entrepreneurs. Then I got to a point where I realized, you know what? A lot of the people who are my besties, my best clients, right? My most valuable tended to be mom entrepreneurs like myself. And I could relate to them because I had that insight of being that mom with the full-time job, with the trying to balance and manage everything all at one time. And then I'm going to add to that becoming a business owner. Okay, because what, So then even after that, I also found that, guess what? As a mom entrepreneur, I tended to work with people who, like myself, were coaches, right? And then, even more importantly, ones who were in the fields relating to like mindset, or relating to wellness, or relating to EFT, all kinds of different things, but they were still all in the same kind of niche market, because I found that I ended up working with service-oriented coaches for the most part. And I say that because, again, it started out very wide and broad, and slowly but surely, when it came to the ones who I resonated with the most, I found that it was a niche. So it was not just someone who was an entrepreneur, not even just somebody who was a mom entrepreneur, because that's still pretty wide when you think about women who start businesses. Because guess what? That's not to say I don't serve and I can't help anybody who doesn't serve that niche, but I'm just saying the people who I help the most and the ones who resonate most with what I do tend to fall into those categories, or into all of those specific niche areas, right? And then on top of that, I found that it's the new business owners. It's not, because I find, again, you find that you may resonate with people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the right match or the right niche for you. Because I tend to work with people who are at ground zero, I'll say that, right? Versus the person who is already, making their six figures. I may end up in a mastermind with them or doing things like that. But the person who is like at zero, I don't have no logo, I don't have a landing page, I don't know who my market is. All of the beginning folks who I need to learn some of the lingo that's now common in the business. How do I get to a point where my audience gets to see me on IG? How do I get the algorithm to actually get me in front of the people who are for me versus all this other stuff that's going on out there, right? So getting back to what I was saying, you want to recognize that there is a target market, right? But you want to focus on your ideal audience, the people who are going to resonate with you best. And that requires you to narrow. So there's that. All right. So now let's go on. How you figure out who that target market is basically, it's called market segmentation, right? And you know this because it starts out with demographics. It's talking about looking at people, their age, their gender, their background, whether their marital status, those sorts of things, right? Those are the ones in general that we think of. But sometimes it also makes you look at, where do they live? Are they living in a big city where they have access to a lot of things? Are they living in smaller cities? Are they in the, when I think about somebody who has some awesome fleece jacket, they ain't looking at folks in Florida and California. So, you have to really be thinking about, where do they live? What are they doing? What are they doing in their free time? Are they skiing during that season? Do they live in Massachusetts? Montana, Wyoming. But then also you may have somebody who's like, what? I have found this natural sunscreen. Guess what? Now you're talking about Florida. Now you're talking about Georgia, or, well, the coast, I should say, places where it's on the ocean. Now you're talking about California, that sort of thing. So it goes into all of that. You also want to look at psychographics. What are they doing? What are their attitudes toward things? What are their, what kind of extracurricular activities are they into? You also want to look at their behavioral habits. Where do they shop? Are they all about, as my son laughs at me, Wally World, Walmart? Are they all about Walmart, or are they about Target? Or are they that person who's looking at Gucci? Like, you really want to figure out your target audience and what the interests are they have beyond just the basic demographics. And that will really help you niche. And the reason why that is so important is it not only has you really, and we're going to talk about creating an avatar, so you know who she is or he is, or who that person is that is your ideal client, but it also helps you to learn the language that they speak and the language that resonates with them, so that when you do speak to them, they can relate. They know and they feel like you are talking to just them, no one else, but just them, right? All right, so we want to talk about, so we talked about location, interests, their purchase intentions or their purchase habits, also like subcultures and community. There is, I could go on all day long talking about subcultures and communities, everything from, and that's what I love about all of the social media and the things that we are seeing between TikTok and Instagram and stuff. You see adults who are into skateboarding, you see, or even roller skating, you see things that otherwise you might not have been exposed to, that actually there's a whole culture of people who love doing that. And if you have a product or service that is really, fine-tuned to reach those people who are in that subculture, man, you have this awesome opportunity to reach them and to serve them in a different way than before. So social media is not all about the bad, and it's not all about the, the selfie. And in fact, it's going away from that. Oof, praises for in some ways, just saying, just in case you were wondering how I felt about that. So let's go to the next one. So I want you to sit down at some point. You can come back to this, take notes, take out a piece of paper, but I really want you to think about and write down who you best help. Create an avatar, give that person a name. And it might be a client that you've already had. So write down, who is that client? What are their needs? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? But start out with thinking about, where do they live? What's their age? What is their marital status? Do they have kids? Where are they shopping? Are they all about the bargain shopping? Or are they about, I want quality, middle of the road quality, but, I'm willing to pay a little extra? Or I want to make sure everybody see what I'm wearing and they know who I'm wearing. What is it for them? What resonates with them? And then what are their habits? Are they the Starbucks person every morning? Are they vegan? Those are all very different niches. And so really finding your avatar and where that person fits in all of that will really help you as you get to the next level. All right. So a big part of that too, And I think that this is really, and this is what I mentioned before, you will also discover who your audience is not. So really be thinking about that too. You know, I can help people who have products, physical products, but that is not my best place. It tends to be those who have digital products and those who offer services, as opposed to somebody who may have, you know, who may sell jackets or clothing, or, you know, have a clothing line, etc. So really figure out who you do not serve so that you can really best suit yourself for the people who really need the value that you bring to the table. All right. So what I want you to also do is check your decisions. Consider a few things like, are there enough people who fit into the criteria that I'm pulling in? That niche is in my ideal audience. Is there enough of a market in that area? So as you're thinking about it and as you're pursuing that, consider those things for sure. Will my target really benefit from this product or service? So really make sure when you're doing your research that you're having conversations to see that what you are bringing is something that they really genuinely need. And that will serve them for what they need for the next step. Like really focus on what is the outcome that they will get from the whatever value it is you bring to the table. You really want to make sure that what you are bringing is going to help them get to that next level, because that not only does that help you be successful, but again, your being successful is really by their success, because that's how you're going to grow and have more people who are a part of your business, basically, and that you bring value to. All right. So do you understand what drives your ideal audience? That's really important, because as you start making decisions, again, having that verbiage, having that speech, knowing their language, but more importantly, knowing what they need, all of that is so important. All righty. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna plug up something again and make sure. I don't think it's happening. But anyway, so the next question you want to ask yourself is, does my product or service or my value offer, more importantly, match who I serve? So again, really being intentional about making sure that what you are bringing to the table, the value, matches what your ideal audience needs. And again, they will tell you, I promise, ask, go find them and ask them. And they will tell you, and that will really, not only will that help you attract people into your program or to buying your products, it will definitely attract them, but it will also help you get very clear so that your messaging is clear. And so you can take things to the next level. All righty. So, is your product or is your message easily accessible is the word, the two words that I'm going to use and put together. Like, again, is it really going to resonate with the people who you serve? Like, are they really going to get you? Are they going to really, again, when you talk to them, it's like, you're not saying, hey, everyone, you know, I hear people all the time, hey guys. No, they want to know that you're like, hey, are you the one who needs this? They want to feel like you are talking to them and no one else, and that you bring to the table just what it is they need. So that is really going to help you as well. All right. So how do you find this information? A lot of people ask those questions. There are all kinds of different ways. Of course, there's this straightforward Google, but I always tell people, like, use multiple words. Don't use the whole sentence for the most part, but like make sure that you're bringing up a topic. So like if you're working with mom entrepreneurs who are struggling with mindset, so mindset issues, mom entrepreneur, or something that really is specific to what the struggles are or what the overcome is for that person that you're serving. Look for magazine articles or blogs that really speak to that audience, right? And then as I mentioned before, do surveys on your own. Find people that are already customers or people you already know who have these struggles so that you can ask them questions. That all of that will help in terms of figuring out who your ideal audience is, because you really want to be able to tap into them. Like, it works for real, because then you can turn that into messaging that is really going to get you in front of who you need to be in front of. So with all of that said, I really want you, again, if you have questions, DM me. If you have just anything, feel free, drop it in the comments, talk to me about it. If you're on Facebook Live, feel free, go ahead and also comment there. But the question that I have for you, as a new business owner, what are you struggling with? What is it that is keeping you from getting to the next level, minus all of the overwhelm and the things that are really just taking up your time, taking up your effort, taking up your money, but not giving you a return on your investment, right? So is it your message? Is it something just figuring out who my ideal audience is and how to reach them with my message? Is it identifying who that ideal audience is, right? Or is it, how do I get in front of them? Any and all of those things. So what I want to talk to you about a little bit, we'll take just a minute, about to wrap up. This coming week, Monday, April 18th through Friday, April 22nd, I am going to be doing a clear messaging equals more money now 5-day challenge. And every single day, we are going to be focusing on helping you figure out, how do I create clear messaging that resonates with my ideal audience? How do I figure out not only who they are, but how do I speak to them in a way that they know that I am the person that is there, who brings value and will help them overcome whatever it is they're struggling with so that they can get to the next level, right? Because we all want to skip some of that frustration, skip the overwhelm, or learn something new without having to spend 5 months on it, right? Or spend time overthinking. Why not spend time with other people who are struggling with the same thing, right? In a group situation, in a group setting, but also more importantly, why not learn the skills without spending all the time doing all the searching on the internet to figure out things, or reading the next book? Like, let the books that you read be the ones that are going to basically, that are 2 steps ahead of you, instead of, skip that part of the, oh, I don't know what to do next. Why not go ahead and get a roadmap, right? That is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using a strategic strategy that will, did I say strategic strategy? What I mean is a strategic roadmap that will get you to the point of having clear messaging and developing an idea of how it is you are going to get in front of the people who need to hear what you bring to the table. So what I want you to do is click the profile, click my bio, and you will be able to get access to that and learn about all of the things that are going on there. Please feel free if you have any questions. If you would like to schedule a business strategy call, if you're in a place and you're like, I'm not sure what I need, come on in. I will take time with you and we will go over it. We will see where you are, so we really can come up with a strategy that is going to get you to the next level and where you need to be. If you have any questions, again, feel free, reach out. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you are in need of anything, any other kind of assistance, get in touch with me, Instagram at MOMpreneur Success Academy. You can also access the Facebook page. It's Mom Success Academy. And of course, feel free to check out the Mompreneur Success Podcast on any of your favorite podcast platforms. But you can also access these videos on the YouTube page for Mompreneur Success Academy podcast, my bad, Mompreneur Success Podcast. I want you to have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you. Have a good night.